with looking at this, these aren't going for the ones I'm going to select to keep. You know, these going to the stockyard to sell or however I sell my cow. Frame size. You heard the doctor before me talk about frame size, and people say the large frame cow gives, you know, bigger calves and makes me more money. She does. Okay, she makes you more money on that end, but how much money did she cost you? Research has also shown that large frame cow does not come back in the heat as quick as the moderate frame cow. The small cow and the large cow pretty much are equivalent in terms of reproduction basis. So that moderate frame cow is going to be the cow that's going to consistently come back in the heat, especially if she's an easy keeper. So I'm going to choose my moderate frame. I'm going to choose my heifers with a moderate frame, and I'm going to choose those that came from a mama with a moderate frame. I'm not so much worried about as it relates to that when I talk about the bull. Now, again, at weaning and as she's growing is when I'm looking at my calves. So I'm starting to select, you know, the calves are born and I'm looking. As they're growing, I'm looking. So at weaning time, you usually will be able to see which calves are going to outgrow who. So just because I was bred to this good bull, you know, if my frame is going to end up being too big, then, you know, chances are she's going to need to go to that heifer will need to go to the ones that you're going to sell versus keeping, because she's going to be harder to maintain in the future. Growth rate, we just talked about a little bit in EPDs. Commercial EPDs. Anybody familiar with those? All right. Angus, we use either AGI, well, we always use the Angus Association for ours. Angus-based cattle, basically, they give you you call Angus Association. They give you a little card like this. We choose most of the time ear blood unless I'm preg checking, and then I'll, you know, get the blood from the tail. Fill up that circle, you send it back in, and usually within a month's time, they'll send you back genomics, basic genomic testing. That, sir? $35. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, it may be cheaper than that, but you know, we get a host of stuff done. Yeah, I say $35. It may be a little cheaper. We get parentage done, and then any genetic defects. You know, we get a whole. You know, we run. You know, basically a host of tests, not just for genomic testing, because we, you know, seed stock, and everybody wants to know what's in this bull's line, no matter how much you tested the parents. You know, or what, you know. So we get everything done.
Does that help increase your price on sale?
Not ours, but it makes them more marketable. You know, a lot of, and what you find out is a lot of the big producers do it as well. It's just not discussed like that. You go looking, people who buy these really expensive bulls actually know where to go look to see if you've actually run those tests. You know, so we always run the test. I would suggest my commercial producers that are interested in keeping heifers, run the genomics, you know, do the genomics testing. It will come back as a percentage, not as an actual EPD. And I was just telling Taylor earlier today, a lot of what I do with EPDs, I do it based on a percentage basis. You know, you heard me ask my question about top 10%, top 15% that. So I look at things from a percentage basis. So if I'm looking at, say for instance, milk is a big trade, especially if you keep it healthy. So if I'm looking at milk, I'm gonna look at it from a percentage basis. I want to be somewhere along the 70, 60, 70%, you know, 80% basis. I don't want to be higher than that, because what happens with milk? What does it take? The factory running 24/7. So if this animal is a easy, now Missy may be an exception. She keeps her full up, and you know she'll have a 700-pound bull calf on her. You know, she won't lose no weight, and every time he gets to drinking, you know, his whole head full of milk. You know, if he's drinking, you can watch the milk running from his mouth. You know, and I think I want to say our milk EPD may be like a 28, somewhere along in there. That's usually probably around it's about 20%. I say about 70 percentile. You know, she keeps very well. Usually cows that milk like that, especially when you talk about getting an EPDs plus 30, you know, that are going to be higher than 70 percentile, because that factory is running all the time, that mama's going to fall. And when that mama falls, she's on a negative plane of nutrition. So now we go past the colostrum phase. You know, the calves really, really growing now, 3 months old. What am I trying to do when the calf is about 3 months old? I'm trying to breed back. Okay, but because all mama's stuff is going to the milk, then, you know, the factory's running too much. It's not trying to reproduce for me. So she's going to delay my calves. So I don't, unless I can input enough into that heifer or into that cow, I don't want a too high milk number, you know. But I also don't want anything in the 90th percentile. In the 90th percentile, we're going to have little udders, and she's not giving you anything. You know, so we want to be around, the 80, 70, 80 percentile as far as the milky PD goes. The other doctor spoke on calf and ease direct and calf and ease maternal. That is something I pay close attention to. I don't do, and I guess I was stuck on birth weight like everybody else. And my old man kept saying that, these folks having little calves resting, these little calves aren't growing. They don't have the input in order to catch up. And that's the other thing she didn't tell you all when I asked the question. Yes, that animal has the potential to outrun, the genetic potential to outrun everybody in the herd. But you got to feed that genetic potential. That's that environmental factor. So I've got to dump all this feed into this calf in order to get him to the top 10% of the weaning weight. So therefore, I broke my budget. So now I'm breaking even on him versus making money. So I don't deal with a lot of, I do look at birth weight, but it's not, my determining factor. Calvanese direct and Calvanese maternal is what I'm looking for. Calvanese direct is usually going to come from your sires. It's saying that this sire's bull calves are more likely to come out like they should, and you want a higher number than somebody with a lower number. The maternal end is the same, except you're looking at heifers coming from that mama cow. Birth weight.